If you're in school band and you have playing tests, you've likely come across your scales. Today we're going to be talking about major scales. We're going to be talking about what they are, how they're built, most importantly, how to play them. So stick around, let's talk about it. First things first, a scale is a set of notes ordered by pitch, either ascending or descending, going up or down. You can think of it like a ladder, where each note is a step that takes you higher or lower. Except in this case, not all the steps are even. We'll talk about that later. There are a lot of different types of scales, but major scales are the most important place to start. Major scales are kind of like the gateway to a ton of different concepts in music, including minor scales, chords, chord progressions, modes, and the circle of fourths and fifths. So they're kind of a musical foundation, and once you get them, they'll just build upon all the other things that you are working on. Some important things to know is that there are 12 major scales. Technically there's 15, but scales like C sharp and D flat are the exact same notes. It's just a different musical grammar, and this is like the same as saying tomato, tomato. What's great about major scales and all the other scales is that they follow a pattern that once you know it, it's really easy to identify, and it just helps you learn all the other scales. So let's look at C scale, for example. You're going to start on C, and you're going to play all of the white keys or all of the lower register keys all the way up to the next C, and then back down. And that's the C scale. Now you might notice that we skipped notes, and those are the upper register. And this is where the pattern of major scales comes in. So the pattern for major scales is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So firstly, there's half steps. This is the shortest interval on the piano and subsequently on all the percussion instruments. And so if you were to go from C to C sharp, this is a half step. D to D flat is also a half step going down. And you can work your way up. And once you get to E, you might be wondering, what's a half step above E? Well, it's just the next note on the keyboard, so that would make it F. Then F to F sharp to G, G to G sharp, and so on. And same thing with B. When you get to B, C is a half step up. So then what's a whole step? Well, a whole step is just two half steps. If you take a look starting on C, then C up to D has two half steps, making it a whole step. Two wholes make a half, right? So a half step above D would be E. A half step above E would be F sharp. Half step above F sharp, G sharp. Then half step above that, A sharp, and so on. And from A sharp, you go up to C. So that's kind of creates a loop. So it's very important to memorize the pattern of steps when learning your major scales. Once again, that's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So 2 wholes and a half, and then 3 wholes and a half. Let's take that same pattern from C and put it onto F. And what do we get? What you'll see is that if we follow that same pattern, you're going to have the F major scale. So F to G, whole, G to A, whole, A to B flat, half, B flat to C, whole, C to D, whole, D to E, whole, E to F is a half, and that's your scale. After F, let's go up to B flat and follow that same pattern to learn the next scale. So B flat, you have a whole step to C, whole step to D, half step to E flat, whole step to F, whole step to G, whole step to A, and half step to B flat. And that will give you your B flat scale. You might be wondering, why are we going in this weird order, jumping from C to F to B flat? Well, what's great about major scales is that they're connected, and there's a pattern that will also help you know how many sharps or flats there are. And this is called the circle of fourths or the circle of fifths. It's just depending on which way you go. If you go one way, it's the circle of fourths. The other way is the circle of fifths. So they're the same thing, just different words for the just different directions. So if you start on C and you go all the way up and down, you'll notice that there are no sharps, no flats. You only play the natural keys, the lower register, right? Well, if we go up 4 notes from C, so C, D, E, starting on F is the 4th note, right? So if we build a major scale on F, you will find that there is 1 flat, right? And that's B flat, as we talked about earlier. Well, if we take that same principle, F, G, A, B flat. B flat's the 4th note of F. How many flats are in B flat? There's 2, right? B flat, C, D, E flat. And you might be wondering, well, what about the B flat up top? It's the same note, just an octave up, so it's not considered another flat. Cool. So if you had to guess, what would be the next scale in this circle of fourths? Right, it would be E flat. So if we start on B flat, C, D, E flat, that gives us our next scale. So how many flats or sharps do you think are in E flat? If C had 0, F had 1, B flat had 2, E flat, you're right, it would have 3. And this pattern goes on through the first 6 scales, and then it goes the opposite way, the last 6 scales, but with sharps. So it's kind of like climbing a hill. Once you reach the peak, then the scales once again have less and less sharps or flats. Hopefully this helps you understand how to play those first 3 scales, and these are super common scales on playing tests and just super important to know for reading through band music, right? I'll have a future video going over the next 9 major scales. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe, leave a like. If you have questions about being a percussionist or about music theory, scales, whatever. So thank you for checking out this video, and we'll talk to you later.